Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this fabulous pixel art 3D rainbow string art creation. Get it all in there. Alright, I think it's totally awesome. I love how it turned out and I want to show you guys how I put this together. You could use any pixel art picture you want. Just kind of will vary the size of this when you're finished. You can see both my hands are on here, and this is a rather large piece. It did take some time to make, but I think it is completely worth it. I'm so happy with it. I used the rubber bands to make this, but you can just use string or yarn or any other medium that you want to fill in after you've put all your pins in your board. Some of the things that you'll need to make this are some foam board or cardboard. Either one will work. So you want some of that. It has to be large enough to put your design on. Some beading pins. These are 7th to 8th inch. I got them from Joann's. Or you could use nails, whatever you're comfortable using. Make sure that if you do get some kind of a pin from like the quilting section or something, that it says it has large heads on it, because that way it'll hold the string or bands or whatever you use on the pins and they won't slide up over the top. Then things like scissors, maybe an X-Acto knife. Make sure you always have your parents' permission before you use anything sharp, or hot glue gun maybe. Don't necessarily need the glue gun. You can use regular glue. You could use a stapler as well. That's just for putting the background on. You don't need, it's kind of like one or the other. You don't need all of them, I guess. Graph paper would be very helpful. Some Scotch tape to tape the two halves together. I can't find where mine went. And then of course you want to pick out whatever pattern you're going to be using for your creation. I'm just using the little rainbow. And then of course you also want a fabric or paper, or if you get a color foam board that you are going to use for your background. So I used blue fabric for mine. I could have used blue paper, or I could have tried to find a piece of blue foam board already made, then I wouldn't have to cover it. So that's up to you too. So those are some of the things that you'll need for making this. Ooh, awesome. So just have those on hand or have some kind of substitute for them. So if you don't have the pins, use some nails. If you don't have the foam board, use cardboard. If you have the graphing paper, you could just kind of measure it out yourself with a ruler. It just kind of is easier with graphing paper. But you want to have those things handy for making the creation. So first you have to pick your pattern that you're going to use. I'm going to use my rainbow that I've used before. It's out there, pixel art pictures. Just you can Google it and you find something very similar to this, or kind of alter one that you found. And then what you have to do is, we can't use this small pixel art picture. We have to make it larger so that it'll fit. We can actually do some stringing or rubber banding in the center of the pixels. So what I did was I decided that each square that I have on here is going to equal a 3x3 square on my new grid pattern. So you have to set up your paper for it. So like get a couple of sheets of grid paper, tape them together so that you have a big sheet. And I'll know that I have enough, or a big enough sheet for it, because if I go from one end of the rainbow and count how wide this is all the way to the other end, it's 18 pixels wide. And if I take that times 3, which is what I want each one to represent, that gives me 64 pixels, or 64 new graph lines. And this paper, with 2 of them taped together, is now wide enough for that. And then you do the same thing for the height. You count from the very bottom of your pixel picture all the way to the top of the pixel picture. And mine is 12 high, so I take 12 times 3 to get 36. And I know that if I count it out on here, I'll have 36, or I'll have enough room to put my rainbow on this. So this is going to be a large piece when it's done. So if you find a pixel picture that you like that is larger than kind of 12 by 18, just be prepared that it could get to be a very large piece when you're finished. To show you what it looks like when I first started, this is it with all of the exact same rainbow that's here is now here, but only in a 3x3 pattern. So it looks like this, and here it is in color, if that's a little more helpful, so you can see what it looks like. So each little pixel on here is now worth a 3x3 square. So I hope that makes sense, because that's kind of the basis for making the bigger piece. But if you have any questions, of course, just always ask me and I'll do my best to help you. So once you have your picture, you get your grid made. I would also suggest making a copy like this that is plain, and then making another copy that you've colored, which will show you where to put your bands or string when you're done. Because this one is the one that I'm going to attach to my foam board, and after I'm all done putting all my pins or nails into the foam board, we tear this off. So then you won't even have it anymore to look at. And after we're done, you're just going to have a bunch of little pins all in rows. It's going to be very confusing. But if you have this pattern to look at again on a different sheet of paper, it should be easier for you to remember or to see where each color goes on our board. And as I show you the more us going around the board and doing the pins, and after I take off my paper, you'll see what I mean, that it is a really good idea to have a second copy that is colored as well. So you want to do that. Next, you'll want your foam board. I have two pieces that are glued together, and then I put something heavy on top of them so that they would stay flat. Then you'll want your fabric or your paper or whatever you want to cover your piece. I'm going to cover mine in fabric. It's the same process of covering it whether you do it in the fabric or if you do it with paper. You just want to put it underneath your piece. That would work as well. And then you just need to fold up the edges around your foam board. So fold it over, and then to secure this to here, you can use glue, you can use a stapler, you could use a hot glue gun, which is what I'm going to use just because it's a little quicker. If you use the regular glue, you're going to want it to sit with something heavy on it on top until it dries, just because you don't want to have it come unglued or the edges come down before you're ready for it. So I have that side pulled up, and I'll go to the other side. I'll pull tight, make sure that it's all nice and snug on the other side. Pull it down, put on some more glue, a little smoky. Make sure that you have your parents' permission before you use a glue gun. So I have both ends secured. On the ends, we do the same thing. I'm just going to fold one end over. And usually when I do the ends, I kind of think about it like a present, where I kind of tuck in a corner. First, and then I'll fold it over and glue it. So we'll put our glue and I'll do the same thing on the other end. Only this time, when I definitely put this over, I'll make sure I pull it nice and tight. I'll tuck in my ends first so they're ready. And then I can go back later and chop off some of the extra pieces or extra chunks that are hanging off, or glue anything that needs to be glued a little bit more. So now I have my base for my art. Now you'll take your template that you made of your design, center it on there how you want to, and then we just start taking pins or nails, however you want. And I'm going to start up in one corner. And I'm going to put them on every corner of my grid square. I'm actually, when I say corner, I meant corner of each little square here, not my big 3 grid. So I'll show you what I mean here. So in each little spot. So you do that all the way across this way. And then I'm not going to put any in the middle, but I'm going to go around the outside of it. So each square is going to look like this when you're done. So you just continue along, you don't put anything in the center, and you just fill out all of your squares until you have your whole pattern done. It'll take a while, you might get some sore fingers, but just kind of plug along and go. It'll be alright when you're done. So I'm just going to fill out the rest of these. Here's my completed rainbow. Now you want to make sure that all of your pins are even as possible. The pins I used earlier, they're 7/8 of an inch, almost an inch, and they're probably about a 1/2 inch still showing. So that's what I did with mine. So once you have that, the next step is to remove your paper that you put on as your template to put on your design. So you're just going to take it and just start pulling. So if I give this a little rip, and it'll take a little bit. You just want to be careful, take your time, because you don't want to pull any of your pins back out that you've already put in your board. But there are a lot of, with putting each of the little pins in there, you've made a lot of perforations already, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's kind of like just tearing on perforated paper, but it'll take a little while. So I'll do this real quick. So here it is with all of the paper removed. Awesome. Now like I said, once you took off the paper, you're looking at this, you might be like, you lose some of the detail. I mean, I can tell because I know it was a rainbow, like these are the clouds down here, but I lost a lot of the detail on this to where, like how far the red went down, how far the orange went down. So that's why I had, or suggested, that you make that second pattern. So with everything colored in, so you know where your things are. So you can just set that aside and kind of look at it as you're doing your design. The other thing that you need to think about when you're making these with the pixel dots as part of the picture is what you want to be on top. Now, if I just started doing like the red and then the orange and went all the way down to the purple, as I overlap them, because as I put the bands or the string on like this one, I'll have the red that'll go on all of these pins around this block. Now when I put on the next ones for the orange color, they'll go all the way around all these pins for the block too, so the orange will overlap the red right here on this block. So you have to kind of decide how you want to have them overlap. When I make my rainbow, I'm going to start with the purple, go out so that the red is the first color, or it's on top of the other colors, so it kind of looks like it's coming down towards the purple. And then I'm going to do my white clouds last because I want those to be on top of my rainbow. So you kind of have to think about that, how you're going to make it too. Like say you're going to make a pixel watermelon picture. You have your green rind, you have your red watermelon, you'll probably have some black seeds. So when you're thinking of how to make that, you want to think, okay, well, maybe I want to put on all the red first, and then I'll put the green rind on, and then come back and put on the black seeds. So it kind of looks like a 3D picture that pops out at you. The seeds will pop out, the rind will pop out, and the red for the watermelon will be kind of behind things. So you just kind of want to think about that, and you can play with it as you make it to see which way fits best for you. But like I said, I'm going to start with my purple and then go out to my red. Now to put them on, like I said, you can do string or you can do the rubber bands like I'm showing you in this one, just for something a little bit different. But what I'm going to do is looking at my pattern, I know that this little purple square right here is my next purple one. So to put them on, I just take the band, and you can just pull them straight across, corner to corner. They fit pretty well. But if you go across, they're loose. So what I do is I'm going to put bands across the corners first to kind of fill up some of the color. And then I'll take another band, I'll put it onto one pin, pick a pin somewhere across, cross my band, so it's crossed behind that one, and then come back towards another pin, like that. So I covered up some more, and you just keep doing that around. Pick some more spots, cross your band, bring it back up over the top of the pin with the cross, and pick a spot somewhere else. And you just fill up your spaces that way. It does take some getting used to doing it this way. But now I have my square for purple covered. If I don't like quite how it looks, I can just rearrange some things. Like, you know, maybe I want this filled in a little bit more here, so just move a band over, bring it to the corner that you already put something on. It's really up to you kind of how you want it to look. You can be exact in every square that you do so that it's exactly the same, or you can make it, change it up, make them different just so that they're covered. So now I'm going to fill in the rest of my rainbow. So here is my completed rainbow. Totally awesome. I love it. I think it turned out fabulous. Looks just like I envisioned, except for I just knocked the band off there. Okay. So I think that it looks awesome. I hope that you agree too. It took a while to make it, of course, with putting the bands on, putting the pins in, but I think it's completely worth it. And I mean, if you want to you don't like the way this turned out with the bands, then you can always just use the string or other mediums, yarn, different things like that to make the filling of your pixel art picture. I think that it looks really good this way, but I think it's fabulous. If you make something like this, you definitely need to share it with me, share it with the world, because it takes a little bit of dedication to make something like this. So, but share with me on my Instagram, which is at Crafting Fantastic, and on my Facebook page, which is feelinspiffy or Crafting Fantastic. Either one will work. And then, of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for other new crafting tutorials or anything that really makes me smile. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will have more things for you soon.